Hello all, welcome to the Oracle Application Testing Suite, the Day 2 demonstration. And in this session, in this Day 2 session, we're going to discuss about the Oracle OpenScript. Now, Oracle OpenScript, for the participants who have joined in only today, let me tell you what all we have discussed in the Day 1 session. Day 1, we had it on Friday, that is May 15th, and that day we discussed about what is OpenScript and what are the different modules of OATS. Basically, what is OATS and what are the different modules of OATS and what is OpenScript, and just about the details about the workbench and the other perspectives. We discussed about the workbench and we discussed about the perspectives of the workbench. Now in this session, that is the Day 2 session, we are going to discuss about what is recurring, what is OpenScript, and why is it called a functional testing tool, and also we'll just have a sample record and playback, and we also see what are the features which is supported by OpenScript, features of OpenScript, and we also see the different perspectives. Whatever we have understood the theoretical part in the Day 1 session, we shall go ahead and see what are the different perspectives of the OpenScript workbench, and also we shall see what are the different script assets, and at times we'll also see what is parameterization. This is one topic which we have chosen for today. We'll see what are these topics. So if you have any queries, if the audio is not fine, you can please type in the chat box. I can just have a look at it. Otherwise, I can just go ahead, assuming that everything is fine, the audio quality and the video synchronization, everything. Guys, anytime you have any issues, you can all the time chat, you can leave your concerns in the chat box. So, coming to this, the first topic for the day, that is, we shall see what is OpenScript and why is it called OpenScript and why is it called the functional testing tool. Now basically in OATS, actually there are different modules. So people who have missed it on the Day 1 session, you can also find that in the mail which has been circulated for the Day 2 session. In that there is also a link which can take you to the Day 1 session, the video recording of the Day 1 session. So here in Oracle OATS, we have different modules. Basically, we have OpenScript, which is the functional testing part, and we also have the other modules like OLM, that's the Oracle Load Testing Tool, and Oracle Test Manager. So these are different modules which we have in our Oracle Application Testing Suite. Now let's come to the first part, that is the functional tool. Now what is functional testing? Now what happens in a functional testing tool is, let's suppose we have an application. So here the Oracle suite itself gives us an application called the sample application called Metric. Now Metric is an application which is a built-in application. As well, we can take a couple of other applications like say a sample application. It's a project. We can consider this in the later sessions and we can see how to work with this project. So let me type it for you. Yes, project which we'll be working on, and also we have a couple of other projects in the pipeline. So this is one of the project. Now, assuming that this This is a project. This is a sample project about a mobile outlet to manage all its details, all its transactions on a daily basis, where it can have the new brand, model, price master, etc. transactions, where we can see the different payments and reports. We have multiple reports which can be generated instantly, and also for the preferences, and we can create new user because this user is logged in as an admin. So this user has a couple of preferences. This is a rough overview of this application. Now suppose if I want to test the functionalities of this application, and this being a web-based application. Now you can see that this runs on a browser. So Oracle Suite, Oracle Functional Testing Tool, that is the OpenScript, it is basically for a web-based application. So it also supports different accelerators. Now you can ask me, what is an accelerator? Now accelerator is something which acts as a media for our OpenScript to interact with the application. OpenScript to interact with the application. Now, so Oracle is widely known for its support for different technologies. Now, some of the technologies, what I would say is Oracle supporting is JD Edwards, Fusion Technologies, Fusion Technologies, and web applications. Okay, so there are so many in the range. So what happens is, with this support, with this wide range of support, Oracle is being so strong. And this particular module, now say if a project is in different technologies, now what are those technologies? How does Oracle give support? That makes Oracle OpenScript strong and supported with all other technologies. Now, this is about the accelerator. Now, considering this is one of the application, and this is simply under the category of web application because it starts with a browser. It's simply a web application. I'm not categorizing under anything like JD Edwards or Fusion or Siebel or any other technologies like web services, EBS forms, nothing, no categories as such. So this is just a web-based application. Now if I want to test the functionality of it, now let's say this is just a launch and the login section. Now first thing, I have to launch this application, and secondly I have to choose all these details like the user type, username, and the password, and finally click on login. Now everything here can be considered as an object. Everything here that is can be considered as an object. Now for example, in the login, so this is a event. So login I can consider as an event where I have to work with a couple of objects. Now what are my objects? One is the user type, as you can see here with the application, and the other one is the user name, and one more is the password field. So here what happens, and finally we have the login button. So here, when any functional testing tool has to interact with the application, it needs to identify all these objects. It needs to identify all these objects. Now, coming to our application, I have installed the application. I have started the application here, that is the tool here, the Oracle Functional Testing Tool, the OpenScript tool. So here this is the basic workbench of it. Now when I go to okay, let's see, we'll just go ahead and create a small script. So here you can see that what are the different technologies Oracle OpenScript can support. So this being a web application, it is here I'm taking a sample of the medical record application which Oracle is giving by default along with the software. So here let's see how to start this. Let's see how to record, how Oracle OpenScript supports. How does it record? How does it read? What are the different script sets? We'll just take a sample look. Yes, I was talking about this application. We can also see, I was talking about the mobile transact application. We can also see this in the future classes and we can take it as a full-time, a live project. Now, let's come back to this. Right. So because there are so many categories here, let me consider it as a web application. Let me quickly check. I guess there is someone who's raised the hand. Okay, I'm sorry for that. So yes, when I select it as a web application, I have to give the name for the script. Now I would name as metric. I would name it as metric application and I say finish. So here you can see it is creating the different scripting projects, everything required like the configuration, the setup, etc. Let's wait for it to launch the application. And because it is running on a virtual machine, it is taking a little longer time to launch. And see, this is how it has created a script for me. Now, basically, by default, when I create a script in OpenScript, when I create a script in OpenScript, it has 3 sections. Now, what are these sections? The first one is initialize, where it will store all the configuration details or the launch details or the URL details in that particular section, and run, where I can get all my scripts, and finally I have finish. Now finish can be something like stopping the application, closing the browser, etc. Closing the iterations, all those things. So can be in the finish section. Now let's go ahead and see how to record a sample script. That is for our metric application. Alright, so this is our record button and we can also use the alternate shortcut keys. Now, provided my application is open, so you can see in the status bar that it is starting the recorders, and let me tell you at this point of time that the Oracle OpenScript 12.3, it supports couple of browsers and couple of versions of the browsers only. As in, it supports IE, that is 7 or 8 version only, and Firefox, yeah, this is the virtual machine. I need to have Firefox for it. So Firefox, it supports till version 6, not beyond this. And latest, because 12.3 is the latest version, it is also supporting Chrome, but lower versions of, older versions of Chrome, not the newer versions. So let's see, currently I am taking IE7, that is the version which is installed in my machine. We'll talk about the installations and all these stuff a little later, once we go ahead and go ahead for the next session. The first thing which we'll be discussing is what is the prerequisite to install OATS, that is Oracle database we need to have. Any version 11, 10, any version is fine. So first we need to install Oracle database, then we need to install Oracle the entire suite, and then we have to make sure what are the browsers and what are the versions of the browsers, and then only we can make it compatible with the entire application. So now it is recording. So now let me start this metric application. So you can see that it is starting the metric application. So here what I'm trying to record is, when I'm trying to record, I'm just trying to launch the application with the URL. Because it's a little slow with the virtual machine. So what I'll do is I'll just launch the URL and I will stop recording and I will come back. Let's see if we can log in. Okay, so if it is a new patient, we gotta register. I'll just click on the register button, or if I've already registered, I can directly click on the login button. So I just want to record a couple of events. So I first launched it, and let's see, I'll just give something abc@123 @gmail.com, and password, let me keep it, okay, abc. So I'm entering certain details which is required. Let's see how it is identify the objects. Alright, I'm done with my recording and I'm saying stop. So with this, it has identified certain objects in my application. It has identified certain events in my application. So when I come back to the script and I see the script here, so you can see that I have launched the browser. Browsers which was open here. So I think, yeah, see, you can see here there were 3 browsers which is open. So it has launched, it has recorded only launching of the browser. So now what I will do is I'll just close all these things and just close all these things, and let's see how it launches an empty browser. This is just replaying the same recorded script. So ideally it should launch the IE browser with the default URL. Right, you can see the summary, what is happening here. It is loading the Eclipse plugins so that it can interact with the browser. So finding assets, creating data banks, running script. You can see the highlight, the updates here. Now you can see that it is running. Alright, so here it was, I'm sorry about the recording part, because there I chose a different browser. So we should always make sure I should choose a browser which is instantiated while the recording. So now it's fine. So we'll just see how it goes ahead. So here what has happened, only launch of the browser is recorded, and here we have the results. The best part of Oracle OpenScript is it gives me a detailed results, every step along with the time punch. This is very important for a tester. So This is very important for the tester, and also you can see what is the script generated, how many users, how many iterations. You can see how whether it has passed or failed. So considering that in my script there was no steps, so here is a detailed result report. So let's go ahead and generate another script. And meanwhile, let me get the application. Okay, I say demo 2. So it has to instantiate the browser now. Meanwhile, right, let me say start recording. It is going to this. Now I'm saying here the same. The mobile transact application. And I say here. Now see that there's only one browser, so whatever events are happening here, it is recording. So here I choose administrator and I enter the details and I say login. So right, so this is what happens, and I also click on logout and I say stop recording. Now you can see here, this is how our OpenScript is recording our script, our events, or I can say user actions. So here, let's understand what is this. Now basically this is we need to so when what we have done till now is we have created a sample script to launch and login, launch, login and logout. So what happens here, the basic scripting which OpenScript uses is Java. So one needs to know how Java works, what are the structures, the logic structures of programming language. Also, this is the tree view. If you want to see what is the code generated, you can quickly go to the Java code. Here you can see the entire syntax. You can see the entire syntax as it is generated a JavaScript for the same. It has imported the packages which it wanted, and it is it has said browser.launcher, etc. As of now, we do not require a lot of Java knowledge. As we grow as we go deep into the subject, then we'll see how much of Java is required, and accordingly we can also go ahead and we can see how we can enhance our scripts. Now, so basically this is a XPath object. So because it is an HTML, it is on a HTML, it's a web page, so it is recognizing as an XPath. Now you can see here, you can see when I open this, expand the details of set password. Now you can see @ID is equal to password. Okay, now what is this @? Now @ can be hierarchy. You can see here, this is the HTML path of it. Now this is a web. In that there is a document. In that there's a form. You can see the hierarchy here as well. So this is the one more feature or advantage of OpenScript. Now any object. Now this is the password object. Now for this I want to know what is the hierarchy here. One advantage is I get the screenshot. Also I get the HTML view of the same script, and I can also get the hierarchy of the XPath object. In the window there is a document. In the document there's a form. In the form there is an input password, and that is recognized as the ID is equal to password. So this is one of the feature. Like this, what I do is I have recorded the script. Now let's see, let's go back and replay the script. So what I will make sure here is the browser which I have started, okay, is not there. I have closed it. So I'll just run it. Execute the script. And now let's see what's the result, how it is working. You can see the summary section here. The same thing is going on. Loading Eclipse, finding assets, running script. And you can see that every section is being highlighted as it is executing every step. Right, it has to log in. It has logged in, now it has to log out. It is taking some time to log out. Let's see why it is taking some time. In either cases, if it is able to do the transactions or the user actions, if it is not able to do the user actions, however, it has to throw me a result that is either passed, which step has passed, or failed, which step has failed. Let's wait for the results, because you can see in the summary it's still saying it's running the script. Let's see. Yeah, you can see now it has waited for some amount of time, that was 99.403 seconds, but it was not able to find the object, so it has timed out. Right now, so the results must be failed. Now let me stop this, and you can see the results failed. Not worrying about the reasons why it has passed, why it has failed. Now let us concentrate on how it was able to redo the things, what is how to create a script, how it identifies objects, and how it creates a a JavaScript by itself. Otherwise, how elements are identified, what is this think time. Let us concentrate on all these things. And also, if we can see the assets, now yeah, we have only one asset, that is our script. Right, so I hope by now you've got a fair of how we have understood till now the script, how to replay a script, and how to analyze our results. So the next part, when we go back, and I said what all we'll be understanding today in the day 2 session. Initially, I had told you that we'll understand these parts. That is, what is OpenScript? It's a functional testing tool. By now we know that here we are only testing the functionalities. As in, here the first step, what I said is, we navigate to this particular URL, yes, and we tested the functionality, that is the application was launched. Second, we saw that click on the text box, that's the username, and enter in the text box a value. We saw that is also a functionality. And password, go to the password field and enter a value, and this is encrypted. And also click on the button at the name is equal to login, and we also saw that every object is identified by its XPath. Right, now we've also seen the sample record and playback, and also we have understood how to analyze the results. Now we'll see what are the features of OpenScript and different perspectives of OpenScript Workbench. Now with the same, if I go to view and I say a developer's perspective, now you can quickly see what is the change happening to the existing script. This is more oriented towards a developer. You can see that this is the entire IDE, and here for every script it is considering as a different project, and for the project whatever the details required, like the settings or the metadata or the recorded data or the results, so everything is given in a view which Eclipse is designed for a developer. However, I do not need a developer's perspective until we go ahead very advanced, or when we have to enhance it, that we can see in the later sessions. Now let's switch back to the tester's perspective, because in the initial stages we'll understand from a test perspective only. Now I go back to results, and here let's analyze the results, and we can see which step particularly has failed. Now you can see that out of 8 events, 6 events have passed and only 2 events are failed. And what were those events? I guess we saw that it waited for the logout. It could not. Oh yeah, this is not the logout. This is a pop-up. Do you want Windows to remember the password? When we recorded, you must have noticed that there was a pop-up which was a browser pop-up, and we cannot ensure that even at the record time and the run time we get these pop-ups. So that is the reason it has failed. Okay, so now let's see the next part. I have just given you a overview of what are the different perspectives, that is the tester's perspective and a developer's perspectives. Now let's talk about the script assets. Now what are the script assets? Now you can see that this is one asset tag, and we can add our scripts. Now currently I do not have any scripts. No, I do have. So let's add this, a sample demo, and that becomes a script asset. Similarly, we can add an object library. Now what is an object library? Object library is one repository. Yeah, object library is one of the script assets. And what is it? It is nothing but a repository of objects in our application. So if many people or many teams are logging into different sections. Now in our application, in our sample project, our mobile transact, we saw that there are so many sections, like we have master, we had preferences, we had reports, we had so many other sections, one more section. So every individual who is getting into any part of the module has necessarily to log in. Now this login and this objects becomes generic. So everyone has to go through that. Yes, I'm not talking about the data, because the data is dynamic, and here the objects are static. Okay, because they do not change. Every person who has to log in has to interact with these couple of items or the objects like the user type, username, password, and the login button. In this case, what we can do is we can capture these objects into a repository, make it as a generic or a centralized repository, and store it under this object libraries, so that next time when I go for a next script, I can add all those repositories, all those objects instantly, and need not execute the same script again, but still my new script will recognize all those objects. And another asset is the data bank. Now the question is it enough for me to test with one username, one password? No, real time in practically it's not possible, because we have dynamic data. Dynamic, I rather say test data, because we have the positive and the negative test inputs. I have to give valid and invalid test inputs. Okay, so here when I have to give valid and invalid test input, that means this data has to be replaced. Now how do I replace this data is our next concept, that is nothing but parameterization. Now when I go for parameterization, all I need to do is replace this static data with dynamic data. Right? So when I replace the static data with dynamic data, what happens is, now here you can see the username. The username field is static. And Shah here, which I've entered as a username, that is also static, because here if I iterate, that will be iterating with the same details. But now what is our intention? I want to replace that with the dynamic data. Now how do I do that here? So I can replace that. I can select, I can replace. Right, so here you can see, you can replace the text, which is the static value. Here we have something called a substitute value. Now this is another script asset. Remember, we saw the same data bank here also. Now let me get back to that quickly. A set is a data bank. Now what is a data bank? A data bank can be a simple database or a CSV file or any Excel form of information where we have loaded data and we have inputs, multiple inputs for a single column, multiple inputs for a dynamic data. For example, I have username as one field, I have password as another field. So here I enter ABC and say something the password, and 123 is the username, something is the password, like this. So what we do is, if we create an Excel sheet, we have different columns, and each column has a heading, and under that column we create some data. Now this can be a data bank for a particular script, right? Like that, we have to centralize it. Down the lane in our future sessions, we'll see how to create data banks, how to make it centralized, how to integrate that with our script, etc. So now coming back to the script, let me tell you how to do this. Now this is the data. I'm gonna just want to say add new data bank. Let's see if I have any. Okay, so you can see here I have to create a CSV file, or I can go ahead and access a database. Now I do not have any CSV files created, so right, you can see that there is nothing. Let's see what is there in the default. Okay, there is nothing in the default as well. So yeah, the file is required. No, I haven't got any CSV or the TXT file created. Once I have it here, I can integrate that to my data bank, and when I go for the execution, you can see here there is something called iteration. Okay, so when I say run more than whatever, if I let me say 5, so then it will iterate 5 times. So done now. I have created a script which has a static data in it, and then I go back to my assets. I should add a data bank that can be a CSV file or a TXT file, and when I integrate that with the script and I go ahead and change the iterations, it will iterate that many times, and every iteration the data will be dynamic. So this in great details in our next sessions. People, if you have any doubts, if you have any queries now, you can please type in the chat box. Okay, so let me tell you some of the frequently asked questions. So when we come back to OpenShift and then to Java, the commonly asked question is how much of Java knowledge is required. So one, yes, it is why, but not to a great. If you know any programming language like C or object-oriented language, so that will be that will be more than enough or sufficient to understand the programming constructs. One more frequently asked question is how much of database knowledge is required, like the querying, etc. Yes, we need to have a little bit of interactions, because here when I talk about databases, when I talk about interacting with databases, further ahead when we go and try to insert certain criteria or questioning to our database, like now get the details, get the usernames, get the passwords, get the records for some conditions. What is the condition, like using a select query or something? Yes, we need to understand a little bit of databases as well. Right, these are the frequently asked questions. So I was still looking for some more questions if you have any, people. Alright, so that's for today's session. So hope to see you in the day 3, where you can get more knowledge on the project and what kind of projects we're going to use, how that will be beneficial for your further studies. Thanks for joining.